Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the campus, Arizona State University, on Blaze Radio. And now, it's time. Here's Weston DeWitt.
Last time. Welcome into the latest edition of the Weston DeWitt Show with Eliav Gabay here on Blaze Radio and streaming live on BlazeRadioOnline.com. It is November 27th, 2017, broadcasting from the Bill Austin Radio Studios in downtown Phoenix at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. We're not going to get too emotional today, but this show is sponsored by Kleenex today because it's going to maybe be an emotional one. Some tears might be shed. We'll have to wait and see. But Harley, you're out. Social media extraordinaire is in the house today, as always. Eliav Gabay, producer, co-host. We've been doing this for a year and a half, man. And, you know, it's so much fun to think about how far we've come as sports talk show hosts and as friends and everything. But how you doing today, man? You doing good?
I am doing so good. And, man, we have so much to get to. I mean, the last show, and it's probably maybe the biggest one with all the storylines, all the guests. I mean, we got so much to get to.
And one of those guests is Matt Barrie. You might know him. That name might ring a bell. He's an ESPN Sports Center anchor. He will join us at 11 o'clock to talk about his broadcasting career and what led him to Sports Center from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. And we also got a lot of NFL to discuss. College football, pure madness. Number 1 and number 2 went down. Yeah. So there's new rankings. We got to talk about that. We also got to talk about one Leo Messi because he's kind of a rich dude. And he's making more money than any of us could probably ever to aspire to make. And in a certain amount a week, he's making more than any of us can aspire to make. Yeah. But we're also going to talk about the Atlanta Braves general manager. He is gone from baseball for life, not just for a couple years, but life. So we're going to talk about that, plus a very special guest coming up in about 13 minutes or so. He will call into the studio. You will have to wait and find out here at the end of the segment to find out who that is. So
if you haven't seen anything on social media.
But the first order of business, I think we all know where to start, is Arizona State football. On a serious note here, Todd Graham was fired yesterday as head coach after 6 seasons here at Arizona State University. But before we give our takes on the situation and talk about the game where Arizona State defeated the U of A, let's listen into athletic director Ray Anderson and from Graham himself about what they think of the situation. Take it away, Eliav.
ASU and ASU football is in a much better place today than it was 6 years ago when Todd Graham took over. But I also must measure competitive consistency on what happens on the field. Because at the end of the day, that's what a head coach is primarily charged to do. There is a working group that will assist us in making this evaluation, and then Dr. Crow and I will jointly make the decision. We don't want to be average. We don't want to be ordinary. We want to be extraordinary. And so I would say to those folks, that's what our aspirations are, and it's not made emotionally. We have got to be able to go and effectively recruit in California and in Arizona and places in addition to Texas at a high level. We should be top 3 in the Pac-12, in my opinion, every season. There's no reason we shouldn't be every year top 15 nationally if we do what we're supposed to do.
From the bottom of my heart, I want to thank the university, Dr. Crow, for the opportunity they gave me here. It was a true blessing for me and my family to come here. This place is not about one person. This place is about a set of value system and what it means to be a Sun Devil. You know, I'm really proud of what we've done here. We have won every day I've been here.
That was Todd Graham, former head coach of the Arizona State University Sun Devils. And
still weird hearing it.
And athletic director Ray Anderson yesterday. So let's just dive right into how we feel about this. Todd Graham is in his 6th season, and he started in 2012 where he was 8-5 after Dennis Erickson went 6-7. Then Todd Graham goes 10-4 in 2013, and then 2014 10-3. Then last year in 2015, the year that Mike Bercovici and the crew was in town to take them to the promised land, according to Kirk Herbstreit, and they fall to 6-7. And then 2016 5-7 after a very strong 4-0 start.
Really hit the bottom there.
And then this year, as we mentioned, 7-5, which is better than a lot of people expected, Eliav.
Yeah, this season by itself is a success.
Yes.
There's no question about that. I don't think I thought best case scenario 8-7.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought going in, and that was the best case scenario. They had some big wins. They have won some easier wins? Yeah, but they made up for it by beating a number 5 team and beating Oregon and beating Utah at home. That's some really sweet wins. But I agree with the decision.
Okay.
I don't agree with the timing at all.
I'm right there with you on the timing.
A lot of us already, spoke about this and went in depth and had huge debates and all that. When it comes to this decision, Harley specifically said this. Last year would have been way easier.
Oh, yeah.
Easy, let him go, whatever. This year makes it a lot tougher because there's a lot more emotion involved due to how this season went along. Again, this season was a success, and I understand. Sports is a what have you done for me lately business. But you have to think about the big picture, and you have to think about it without emotion. He's a great football coach. He cleaned up this team. Behind the scenes, off the field, he is a national championship football coach as far as those guys are respectful. The team, and the program wasn't so clean before he got here.
No,
he cleaned it up completely. The GPA is so solid for the team. They are not only good players but good men off the field as far as we know. And he's just done a good job of representing Sunderland Athletics and what ASU stands for. He really, and this I think there's no question here. Truly, you can see it from the press conference. Loves ASU. Loves ASU. Loves everything they stand for and represented it beautifully. Now, when it comes to on the field, yeah, he had 2 10-win seasons. Those weren't his guys that he recruited. He inherited a lot of those guys. That is my biggest point from those 10-win seasons, that it wasn't his players. When he did recruit, you started seeing a different result.
Yeah.
And that's where I think Todd Graham's biggest deficiency is, his recruiting. And that's why I think they had to move on most out of everything. I
completely understand where you're coming from, and your opening statement was you agree with the firing but disagree with the timing. Right now, as I sit here today, I still don't think he should have been fired because the timing of it was very, very poor, Eliav. And Ray Anderson, I think that he is committed to showing, you heard it in the clip, he thinks they should be top 15 nationally and in the first place in the Pac-12.
Yeah, that takes a process, Ray.
So, and basically now with Chip Kelly at the helm of UCLA and Stanford and Washington and all these great teams, that is hard to do.
Well, even if you're not going to fire him at the end of last season, midway through this season even would have been better. But I get why not, because he got the Washington win.
Yeah.
Oh, he got the Oregon win. There's a lot of interesting. Those wins now look a lot weaker because of how you saw their seasons go. But at the end of the day, those are still great. But you have to think about this, Weston. Attendance was down. The Colorado game was just pitiful, man. It was pitiful.
And by the way, I want to give credit to Greg Moore for this of AZ Central. He's a friend of the show. But he wrote a column, and I think he wrote what I feel sums up perfectly. And he said that the reason he was fired was because of 1, expectations, and 2, USC. The way they lost to USC, I was there. I called that game from start to finish with Braden Bell, and it was a very, very expected. This game was supposed to be the game where they break through. This was the biggest game. This was I advertised as the biggest game since Notre Dame on campus. And they went out there and played like straight garbage. So those are the two reasons why. And expectations. Look, the expectations, it's hard when you go 10-3 and then have just 4 losses. That's hard to follow up from. And based on, you said, his recruiting could have been better. Yeah, he went out and got Blake Barnett. Yeah, he went and got out N'Keal Harry, who's going to be an NFL star as far as I'm concerned. And you got Manny Wilkins, who's a very versatile quarterback, and when he throws the football in the pocket, it's very clean and precise. And so when I look at this whole situation, you mentioned also off the field stuff. He wasn't just a head coach, Eliav. He was a teacher at guiding these kids how to be young men at a university like this. This is not pro football where these guys are getting paid. You're setting these guys up for future success and teaching them how to be men in this world. And Todd Graham did that. That's why I have the utmost respect for Todd Graham.
No doubt. As far as a person, as off the field, everything, he's been amazing.
Yes.
He's been a great person. He's been humble. When he was fired, you saw the press conference. He was so respectful. But it comes down to this, Weston. I don't know who they're going to bring in, and I don't know if he'll take them to the next level. But Graham was not the guy who was going to take them to the next level. And it's as simple as that. I don't know who they're going to bring in, but he's not the guy. And we've seen that over his tenure.
Before we get to the actual game, Kevin Sumlin is one of those names in the rumor mill because he was fired from Texas A&M. And then Les Miles is also a name being thrown out there.
I'm putting my money on Kevin Sumlin coming over here. Listen, even coming from the SEC, he was also 7-5, mind you. It's in the SEC, so that's a different 7-5. Even though the SEC was a bit weaker this year, overall, it's still a solid football conference usually. Beyond anything, I think he's just a really good recruiter. I think he's a better recruiter than Graham was, and I think that's what's going to make the difference here.
So as far as the actual game is concerned, the 91st edition of the Territorial Cup.
This was literally the epitome of a tale of two halves.
Yes.
My God.
42-30. Arizona State pulls it out. Now, the home team has won the last 5 games. So when we look at Manny Wilkins, 163 yards for 3 touchdowns. Okay, but let's look at Demario Richard. Can we please give some love and praise and kudos and whatever kind of pleasantry word you want to give to Demario Richard, we need to give it to him.
He's been the MVP.
He is a warrior extraordinaire, and he is just the leader, and the way and being so gracious and coming to talk to us after the game with Blaze Radio, that shows the person that he is and the amount of growth that he's made. Yeah, and the amount of growth that this young man has made, and to have rush for over 100 yards since USC. I mean, come on. And and Chris Cadeau with the hot take, credit to him. He thinks he's going to be a 3rd-round pick in the NFL. Now that's a bit of a stretch.
Listen. As far as you heard from Graham a lot this year. Relentless running and leadership. That's what you saw to Demario, and there was no question. He was fantastic as a leader. He was fantastic. He was an all-purpose back this year. Obviously, more ground and pound, but he showed that he could receive this year too. Yeah. Which was very cool to see when you think about what defines him. Well, that was it. Now Khalil Tate did get injured in the second half, but Dawkins was no slouch. Are we gonna yes.
His first 2 drives he was.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. The second Khalil Tate went down, that entire team fell apart. Fell apart. Like special teams, defense, everything just fell apart for them, which I did not see coming. And ASU, as we've seen all year, when momentum swings, they love it. And they cherish that momentum. And you saw it the whole way down. Everything just switched. The switch flipped, and boom, they took over the game. Simple as that. All right, so there's another team in Tempe who's rocking and rolling.
Wow. Let's give some love to NCAA's ASU men's basketball, because this is a team that is now ranked, ladies and gentlemen, and they are ranked number 13 in the top polls, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my gosh.
That
I don't think you could ever think of that when going into the season. Like, yeah, you thought maybe they'd be good or whatever, but if they're, being ranked in general, I don't think a lot of people expected.
No, of course not.
I mean, when you think of the K-State game, by the way, you almost ruined that for them. They were up by, like 8 or so with a minute left, and Weston goes, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Weston, I've seen this game for too long to think that it's over. No, it's over. It's like, and then the comeback almost happened, and they end up winning. You're a lucky son of a gun. I'll tell you that.
I am.
You are lucky.
I know. I would have heard it from the rest of my life for you.
But they pulled it off, 92-90, and then Xavier. Wow, second half, firing. Trey Holder has been the leader of this team. Are you kidding? 35 and then 40 points, and like throughout this young season, they've just shown so much swagger and confidence. Ding, ding.
And to follow up, Trey Holder, you want to talk about being a leader. I mean, this is absolutely phenomenal. He went out there and balled out 40-plus points for this team. And then also Shannon Evans, Romello White, Cody Justice, Daquan Lake, Remy Martin. I mean, even Shibble. This team is firing on all cylinders right now, and there's every reason in every way, shape, and form to be excited about this team. So if you are a student or if you're a college basketball fan and you want to watch some good college basketball, go to Tempe and watch this team play. The Weston DeWitt Show with Eliav Gabay here on Blaze Radio and streaming live on BlazeRadioOnline.com. Coming up next, this is a guy he's well known, let's just say, to the Phoenix area. He currently is the head coach of the Houston Rockets. He's kind enough to take time out of his day and talk with us. His name is Mike D'Antoni. He's up next with Eliav Gabay and I here on Blaze Radio and streaming live on BlazeRadioOnline.com.
I don't like it. I love it, love it, love it. Uh-oh. So good it hurts. I don't want it. I gotta have it. Uh-oh. When I can't find the words, I just go.
Welcome back. Kick that music, Eliav. No.
I love it.
Woo! Welcome back to the Weston DeWitt Show with Eliav Gabay here on Blaze Radio and streaming live on BlazeRadioOnline.com. The series finale. Thank you so much for joining us here on this Monday, starting it off on a high note as you always does. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, on the line with us right now, very kind and gracious to take time out of his game day to come and talk with us, former head coach of the Phoenix Suns, New York Knicks, and Los Angeles Lakers, and currently resides as the head coach of the Houston Rockets, the one and only Mike D'Antoni is on the line with us right now. Coach, how are you doing? Welcome to Blaze Radio. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Mike. So let's just dive right into it. So you guys are off to a blazing hot start. As everybody knows, you're first place in the Western Conference, and you guys are going to take on the Brooklyn Nets here tonight. So just talk to me and enlighten our audiences what you think your assessments are of your team thus far and what areas specifically you guys need to improve on.
Well, I think that's easy, man. We got to improve everywhere. We've got some good players. Chris Paul and the James Harden. A lot of people have had doubts that would work. Well, it works, and it works really well because they're two great players that want to make it work. So that was easy. Then we've added some defensive guys to the team, and I think 1 year being together, so things are more natural. So our defense is getting better. Obviously, Golden State puts a high bar for everybody, and we've got to keep improving. And there'll be some bumps along the way, and we got to figure out some things at the end of games. We haven't had too many games where we've gone down to the wire. So the dynamic between James and Chris and how we manage the last 5 minutes of a close game, we still got to be worked out. So those are some things we have to improve on, but so far so good.
So you mentioned James Harden. By the way, what's up, Mike? Eliav Gabay here. You mentioned James Harden.
Hey.
Last season, you moved into the PG spot. Everyone thought that would be crazy, and then you saw what he became. And now he's moving back to the shooting guard position because Chris Paul obviously joined the team. Now, what underrated aspects of his game do you think people have to respect more now that he's proven to be so much more than just a scorer?
I think I don't know if he's underestimated now because he's probably the leading candidate for MVP, so that's pretty good. I think everybody's understanding what he means to us and what he's doing. But he's an incredible passer. And I think the biggest thing that people don't realize that he's a willing passer, which is huge. He usually just tries to make the play. And that's big. When his teammates know that he'll move the ball around, it's just not – when he holds the ball, it doesn't mean he's holding it just to go one-on-one or take a mid-range jump shot. It means that he's going to try to create a play for either himself or somebody else, and that's important. And he's getting better on defense this year. He's really locked in, and And I think everybody understands what we have to do, and we're trying, like I said before, we're trying to get there.
Mike D'Antoni here with Weston DeWitt and Eliav Gabay here on Blaze Radio, the series finale on the Weston DeWitt Show with Eliav Gabay. So, Mike, let's stick with your guard position. So even with the injury, Chris Paul comes over to you guys in the offseason, and he's only played 5 games for you guys this year, so he started out with an injury. But what have you seen out of Chris Paul, and specifically his leadership qualities since he has gotten to your team?
Well, the guy's going to be an easy Hall of Famer, and one that arguably you could, who's the best point guard in the last 10, 15 years, and you could argue that he is the guy or one of the 2 guys. And so he's incredibly efficient. James has been really efficient this year. That's why we're off to this good start. He has great leadership. He wants to do it the right way. He shows it on both ends of the floor. He not only can talk a good game, but he backs up what he talks about, and he's incredibly studious of the game. He watches films, and he understands other teams' offenses, and he gets it. And that allows the coaches to give him a lot of trust and direction that we're going. And he's been unbelievably good for us so far.
Well, you mentioned the best point guards in the last 10, 15 years. I think your buddy Steve Nash might be in that conversation as well.
Absolutely.
Well, see, that's why I had to hedge a little bit. I didn't want this Steve. If I hadn't coached Steve, I'd by far Chris Paul's the best.
So let's talk about those Phoenix days a little bit. The NBA has progressed a lot since then.
Oh, yeah.
And the rise of a style of offense that you started here in Phoenix, the 7 seconds or less offense, has really picked up lately by a lot of teams. Don't worry, the Rockets still do it better than anyone else, running and gunning.
Oh, yeah.
But how have you seen the progression and rise of small ball lineups take over the league?
Well, there's a little misconception when you say small ball in the sense that most people think, okay, you just downsized everybody. And I think the ideal scenario is that you still have the size at every position. The point guard, I'd love for everybody to be long and tall, but what we're trying to go to is more skilled basketball, where all 5 positions are very skilled. It's not you don't have one thing that you're coming on the floor for. Like in the old days, the 4 was more of a banger and just a bruiser and couldn't really space the floor. The 5 is the guy that just posts up and rebounds and anchors your defense and really couldn't get out on the floor. But now offenses are going to 4 space the floor, even 5 space the floor. Everybody shoots 3s, it's wide open. And so it makes it really hard for the traditional guys that, even the guys that are commenting sometimes on games or old players that look at the game, they don't understand it's a different game. And it's whether you like it or not, that's not the point. It's different now.
Yep.
And it's up tempo, and if you don't run and get in the quicker pace and you open the floor up, you're going to have a hard time winning. The old way of doing things is just what it is. It's an old way of doing things, and things have changed. And I'm sure there'll be other concepts that come on and take it to a different place. But right now, that's where it's at, and the most effective teams are doing that.
Head coach of the Houston Rockets, Mike D'Antoni, here on the series finale of the Weston DeWitt Show with Eliav Gabay here on Blaze Radio and streaming live on BlazeRadioOnline.com. All right, Coach, first of all, thank you so much for taking time to come talk with us. But secondly, let's transition to some more fun questions for you here and a little lightheartedness. So a story came out just a few weeks ago that you don't really particularly like coffee, but at the same time, you're obsessed with Starbucks. So if it's not coffee, Coach, what is your go-to drink that kind of gets you going and gives you energy and getting ready for the game?
Well, I mean, that's a little exaggerated. I do like the taste of coffee to a certain degree. It's got to, I wish I could go to a regular place and just get a big old black cup of coffee, but I can't take it. I'm not manly enough for that. So I have to be sure that like Starbucks knows, you got 1,000 different ways to do it. I'm one of those guys, and it's just you get in the habit. I think you get superstitious, you get in the habit as athletes or players or coaches, and I just do the same thing over and over and over. And if I break that routine, I get out of sorts a little bit, and happens to be my routine. And so, it's the same as doing the crossword puzzle each morning. If I don't do one, I get out of sorts, and I just like, you can set your watch by where I am or what I'm doing at a certain time of day, and that's just the way it is.
Makes sense.
Very nice. All right, so last question. It's another fun one. All right, so your mustache. We're going to talk about the hard-hitting stuff.
Oh, goodness, Eliav.
Oh, yeah, you guys are real in-depth early about that.
Your mustache used to be kind of your thing back in the day, and now you've gotten that shaven, clean look going.
It looks good.
Yes, any reason for that change, and are we ever going to see a stash come back?
No, that you'll never see again. It's you just outgrow things. I got too old for it, and I wanted to do it for a long time. And then, like I said, I'm kind of a routine person, so it took me a long time to be able to convince myself to do it. And it was kind of spurred on by my wife. She bet me on something. I can't remember what it was. She did win, and so it was kind of the catalyst to do it. I thought, I wanted to do it anyway, so I just did it. And I should have probably done it a long time ago, but anyway, that's life.
Yeah, Kobe's fro, Mike D'Antoni's mustache, it's all the same.
Head coach of the Houston Rockets, Mike D'Antoni, thank you so much for taking time out of your game day to come and talk with us here on the series finale. Rockets take on the Nets tonight at 6 p.m. Coach, thank you so much. Best of luck to you the rest of the season and your team, and we'll talk to you down the line soon, okay?
Sounds good, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. The one and only Mike D'Antoni here on the Weston DeWitt Show with Eliav Gabay. The series finale on BlazeRadioOnline.com and Blaze Radio. Come on back with us. We're going to take your phone calls. Do you think Todd Graham should have been fired? We want to hear from you, plus some NFL and college football and so much more. You're listening to the Weston DeWitt Show with Eliav Gabay here on Blaze Radio and BlazeRadioOnline.com.
There were voices down the corridor. I thought I heard them say,
Welcome to the Hotel California.
Wow.
I don't sing, but I gotta sing this one.
That's not so bad. Kick that music and sing again. Let the world hear that beautiful voice.
At the Hotel California.
His face just turned really red. Welcome back to the Weston DeWitt Show with Eliav Gabay here on Blaze Radio and streaming live on BlazeRadioOnline.com. I'm at a loss for words. Welcome back. Thank you again to the one and only Mike D'Antoni.
Oh, we got a caller right off the bat.
For calling into the show and giving us some great insight on James Harden, Chris Paul, and his Houston Rockets team. So while Eliav attends to that call, real quick, we will get into this after the phone call, but the Arizona Cardinals beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 27-24 in Calais Campbell's return to Jacksonville. But Arizona looked pretty good. Blaine Gabbert doesn't look like a scrub, but it's good to see Adrian Peterson rushing for 79 yards. And before the phone call, I do have to correct myself. Credit to Chancellor Johnson for this. He reached out and said Arizona State is ranked number 20, not number 13. So my correction on that.
Heat of the moment mistake. It's all good. Now we have a caller. One of the loyal ones, Braden from Phoenix.
Oh, Braden in Phoenix. You're on the air with Weston DeWitt and Eliav Gabay on the series finale. What's up, Braden?
Fellas, first off, what an honor to be on the season finale. I am a loyal listener, dedicated caller.
Thank you, buddy.
But I got to say, you guys have done a great job with this show, and it's been great to watch you guys grow, throughout the time. But, there was a purpose behind calling, not just telling you guys are great. Let's talk a little bit about Arizona State men's basketball, because here these guys are. Ranked 20th, like you guys just said. Andy Katz, who's a very respected journalist, has them as number 11 in the country in his weekly ranking. Now, Eliav, I got to tell you on a side note, Arizona is not ranked this week.
I owe him $5, ladies and gentlemen. We made a bet. We made a bet, and he won.
That's the reason I brought that up. But I gotta ask you guys. I have my own opinion here, but I want to hear yours. Can this team actually contend and possibly win the Pac-12?
I think absolutely. What we've seen to this point, I have no reason to doubt that this team could, at the very least, contend and compete at a high level in this conference. Listen, as it looks right now, in my mind, they should be top 4, top 3. All right. Now, we've already been so surprised by this team. Who knows where it's going to stop? So as long as this leadership continues, which, and you've mentioned this a lot before, Braden, that this really veteran backcourt just continues to roll. And again, like I mentioned earlier, the swagger, the confidence continues, the inside presence continues to be even half decent of what they've been, there's no doubt that they can contend.
And Braden, I do firmly believe that they can be top 3 at least, because you look at some of these teams. So let's look at this. Colorado is 6-0 to start the year. Washington State is 6-0. Do we think they're gonna last that long? No, they're not gonna be undefeated for much longer. UCLA, no LiAngelo Ball for quite extended period of time.
We'll see what happens with that.
And then with USC is top 10, but they did lose to Texas A&M, and then Washington State, Oregon, Utah, all these teams. But when you look at those teams, there's no question in my mind that Arizona State can be in the top 3 because of what White can do down in the post and the leadership. You saw it, Braden, the leadership and the sass and pizzazz that Trey Holder possessed in that game against Xavier when he lit up the board for 40 points. And that's the leadership that this team needs, especially with the young guy like Remy Martin in the projects coming up after him.
And last thing real quick, Trey Holder's getting boards, man. He's getting boards, and that's that extra something you need out of your point guard.
How about you, Braden? Do you think they can finish top 3?
These guys are up to something, and I will tell you that you better get your dancing shoes ready.
Ooh.
I called it last March.
He did.
Last March, and I said it's looking better and better. This team's going to be in the NCAA tournament, and they're going to be a tough out for whoever they play. And that's the thing about this team. Even when they go play Kansas, they can compete with that team because of their experience, because of their depth that they will have. This is a team that's been there, done that. They've played tough road games at Kentucky. They played at U of A. All these guards know what it's like to compete at a big level, and it's gonna pay dividends this year. But one more time, guys, just thank you for having me on. And it's not going to be the same next semester without you guys walking in and hearing Weston, yelling throughout Cronkite. It's not gonna...
Well, don't worry. You're not going to miss his yelling. You'll miss mine. I'm not going to be here.
You're going to miss Eliav's very beautiful, natural voice. All right, Braden, thank you. Your loyalty never ceases to amaze me, Braden. Thank you for the phone call. Appreciate you, buddy. All right, let's dive into some NFL action. I mentioned the Arizona Cardinals before the phone call, Eliav. So the Cardinals won 27-24. Calais Campbell in his return, he got a touchdown in return.
Yeah, that was sweet. And he was pumped afterwards. You wanted that one.
And I'm a huge fan of Calais Campbell. I have the utmost respect for him. I mean, he's a locomotive coming at you at 6'8", 300 pounds. So the Jaguars got a beauty in him. But the Cardinals... I mentioned it before the phone call. It was good to see Blaine Gabbert kind of progress, and he had some motivation in this game because of his former team playing against Jacksonville, and then Adrian Peterson coming out and doing his thing. And then the receivers have just killed the Cardinals this year. It's just been awful in the receiving department because Larry Fitzgerald can't do it all by himself.
Well,
so
also,
it's
let's
interesting.
wait a minute. Let's not totally blame the receivers here. They've had a lot of different quarterbacks come through and injuries, and it's not that easy on the receiver as well because you're learning a whole new person. Ding, ding.
And another game, the Los Angeles Rams, a big win for them. They defeated the New Orleans Saints in, I wouldn't say a statement game, but it was a close game throughout. 26-20, the Rams won. Jared Goff balling out again. I mean, we've been giving so much love to Jared Goff on this show for the last 10 weeks or however long we've been doing this. We've given so much love to Jared Goff for his incredible tendencies to lead this young team, and Sean McVay being the leader. You also got Todd Gurley and Cup, 116 yards. I mean, the Rams straight up balling left and right.
They are clicking, and now we have Matt Kling on the line with us.
Okay. Matt Kling's on the line, ladies and gentlemen. But before he comes on, Matt, I want to do an impression of your commercial. Can I do that, please?
Sure. Go ahead.
On Center Ground with Matt Kling.
That's right.
How was that?
That's
On a
right.
scale of 1 to 10, how was that?
It's my show. It's a no-nonsense show.
I'm not going to take any crap from nobody.
That is not as good as the Jimmy Fallon Barrie Gibb impersonator that I try to do for my no-nonsense show, which my series finale is tonight, by the way.
There you go.
Plug.
I want to give a little shameless plug. I love you guys, but I've had a hot take. I know you're talking NFL. I don't know if you touched on the Cowboys or the Eagles yet, but I'm going to cover both of them right now.
Okay.
And I'm passionate about both. First of all, for context purposes, I'm an Eagles fan. I love what this team's been doing. Carson Wentz is balling. The defense is balling. They've not allowed a touchdown the past 2 weeks. They're playing at a top level, and they are just a win or a Cowboys loss away from the division title this early in the season. But to talk about the Cowboys, I know my boy Harley there. He's a Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm thinking about them. They have not looked good at all the
No.
past few weeks.
Hot
They just
take.
got embarrassed on Thanksgiving Day to the Chargers, and I'm not even going to put a city in front of their name because they don't have one right now.
Well,
But
Matt,
everyone is saying that this is all because the NFL took Ezekiel Elliott away. That is not their fault. Their defense is not that good. Their quarterback, Dak Prescott's not playing at a good level. Here's my opinion on this. They should be motivated and fired up to be playing at a top level every week, whether they have their best players or not. In that case, I believe that Jason Garrett should be fired as head coach.
Well, that is a good point. While I'll say this, defensively, they've had injuries this year, and when it comes to Zeke, listen, yeah, you want to be fired up and things, but at the end of the day, he's one of the main pieces of your offense, and you're going to be shook. Dak, yeah, without Zeke, I mean, Dak has been not good at all. But at the end of the day, how much it is him, but how much is it him, and how much is they lost a lot of pieces in that O-line, and we've seen the result of that.
And that's where I was going, Eliav and Matt, because the offensive line, I mean, their offensive line is treacherous. You remember how embarrassed Dak Prescott got against the Atlanta Falcons when Adrian Claiborne looked like the second coming to Lawrence Taylor, for God's sake. And you saw the offensive line get exposed. You've seen a lot of areas of this team get exposed this year. And now let's go back into your Eagles for a second, Matt. When you look at this Eagles team, they've put up over 30 points in the last 5 games. Now you got the Seahawks coming up on Sunday Night Football next week in the 12th Man Stadium.
Oh, as far as the Eagles are concerned, they are the best team in the NFL.
And Carson Wentz, MVP. Carson Wentz, MVP.
So far,
MVP.
definitely.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Like if he can keep this role, which there's no reason for him not to. And like you said, the defense, underrated defense, because they have been unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Center ground with Matt Kling.
They looked yesterday. The Chicago Bears looked pitiful. And I actually got
Not surprising.
with an Eagles win, which was the first time all year I was bored by it, just because of how pitiful the Bears looked. But yeah, thank you for taking my call. You guys are great. Good luck in your futures. I'll probably see you around, and love you, and listen to my show, too.
Love you too, big fella. Thank you.
Matt Kling, ladies and
Bye-bye.
gentlemen. Great phone call by Matt in Phoenix. Make sure you listen to his show, Center Ground with Matt Kling. That is arguably the greatest promo Blaze Radio has ever made. And so,
all right, so we have a lot more to get to here.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rams over Saints. You said it. They were just straight up huge win for the Rams, and the Saints almost streaked in for a comeback there at the end, which was making people a lot of nervous, very nervous, because Breeze was not having a good game.
No.
And then Breeze turned it on, and then it's just like, okay, what's happening here? All right, wait a minute. But definitely unsung hero there, Sammy Watkins.
Yes,
he's just been solid.
And,
all right,
and credit to Cameron Kupp too. He's unbelievable.
Yeah, and Cooper Kupp, fantastic. Okay. Aqib Talib. Oh, my God.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing because this is just, Aqib Talib, Michael Crabtree literally just went out a full out. All right.
Haymakers.
Let's go. Like, not even, forget the game. I'm not even here for the game. I'm here for this, it was as good as Mayweather McGregor. Like, they were going at it. They were on the sideline. Aqib Talib got the chain.
Wow.
From start to finish, it was round 2, and it was fantastic as far as that's concerned. But guys, be smarter than that. What are you doing? You're both very important to your teams, and this is ridiculous.
And not to mention your veterans. And if you're Michael Crabtree, I've had so much respect for Michael Crabtree in his career. I think he's unbelievable. But like you said, I mean, these two guys, they know better. Emotions sometimes get the best of you in sports. That's no surprise to anybody who's a sports fan who's ever watched it or played it. But if you're those two guys, be smarter. You just got to do better. Now, as it pertains to another game, we're going to transition to Arrowhead Stadium and talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, because this was a team that we looked at a few weeks ago that was balling on all cylinders.
We were very curious.
And Alex Smith has started to fade back to his game manager tendencies, dare I say. Mm-hmm. And now the question has come, what has happened to the Kansas City Chiefs? Kareem Hunt has not been doing as well as he can. Alex Smith is not performing up to snuff like he has. Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, there's so much that those guys, all but so much those guys can do. I'm still a believer in the Kansas City Chiefs, but for those who think that they need to insert Patrick Mahomes in for Alex Smith, I would pump the brakes. You got one more year left of Alex Smith. Use all that you can out of him and see where it goes.
Yeah, no, if this continues this way, towards the end, if they're really falling apart, then maybe you throw Patrick Mahomes for a couple games. But at the end of the day, you got to stick with your QB1. You got to stick with him. You can't pull a Tyrod Taylor sub out. Yeah, so no. But here is something that I want to talk about. Julio Jones.
Woo!
Wow.
Baller.
Wow. Julio Jones, 250 yards or more in 3 games. First player ever to do that. No one else in the history of the NFL.
That's remarkable.
The history. He's the best receiver in the game right now. There's no question about it. Julio Jones is blockbuster stuff, and there's no question about it. I just wanted to put that out there.
No,
Julio Jones, fantastic.
He is box office, ladies and gentlemen. And we used to have that debate of Odell Beckham Jr., Julio Jones, or Antonio Brown. No disrespect to Antonio Brown, but Julio Jones is box office. He's the real deal. He is the best wide receiver in football. Transitioning to the college level, there was pure madness on Saturday afternoon, and a lot of it was from the Iron Bowl because Auburn 26-14 over Alabama, and they are no longer number 1. Jalen Hurts 177 yards passing, never been his forte to pass the football, but credit to Stidham and Johnson and those Rough Riders from Auburn for pulling out a big win. And you look at another game, Miami. Number 2, no more. And they were defeated by
undefeated,
Pittsburgh.
no more.
They were defeated by Pittsburgh 24-14. And, the question is Miami still going to make the playoffs? I think
yes.
so.
I say yes.
I think so too.
Listen, you're undefeated. You're going to lose a game. It'll happen. It'll happen. If it comes now, it comes now. If it came at the beginning of the season, it came then. Yeah, I get it. Pitt is bad. They're not good at all. But you have those games. You're not going to be perfect. And I think Miami should still be in the college football playoff come season's end. Now, the new coach at UCLA.
Oh.
Chip Kelly.
I like it.
Making noise over there. UCLA, savagery. Fire Moore on his birthday and hire Kelly on his birthday. So it's just like they love their birthdays over.
That was a great tweet from your
at
account.
Pasadena. Yeah, no, or Westwood. Just so funny. But good for them. Good for him. I think it's a good match there, and it should work out.
And he was never suited to be at the NFL level. He's always been suited to be at the college level. He shined at Oregon, did not perform up to. He alienated players left and right.
Stanford.
In Philadelphia and Stanford. Thank you.
No, I meant Standard.
Excuse me. Yes, excuse me. And then also in San Francisco, we all know how that turned out. So I'm glad that he's getting this opportunity. 5 years, $23 million contract with a $9 million reciprocal buyout. So I think UCLA, this is exactly what they needed. They're going to be, I like UCLA's chances next year to win the Pac-12. No, not per se. But we're going to have to wait and see how Chip Kelly meshes with those guys. Now let's transition to the hardwood. And let's talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Golden State Warriors went at it Wednesday night.
Literally and figuratively.
And Kevin Durant, he dropped 21 points. As for his former partner in crime, Russell Westbrook, 34 points. And the Thunder won the game 108-91. And I love when these guys are on the television sets going at each other. It's, can we really get as good of basketball entertainment as we can get when these two guys are matched up with one another? The competitive fervorness, I don't even know if that's a word, to go with these guys is something so special.
It's straight out of a movie.
Yeah.
It's straight out of a movie when the rivals, he comes back to town, everyone's supporting the hometown hero. But this time, the hometown hero, aka Russell Westbrook, has help. He has help, and they look dangerous.
Unlike last year.
It's early in the season, so anything can happen. But wow, Melo, Paul
PG.
George, and Russell Westbrook, they all contributed nicely, and you saw the result. This is fun now. When Russell Westbrook has help, that's some good movie time. Grab your popcorn, because these guys, if they match up in the playoffs, oh my God, that is a dream.
That's beautiful.
Let's talk about the scuffle real quick. I'm not really sure what happened there when Russ tapped the ball away from KD. There were some words exchanged. Then there was foreheads going up against each other. And I don't know if I read KD's lips correctly, but it was not nice what he called Russ. And you know what? I don't know why he's got to do that. I don't know why you got to be calling him all that and getting into those kind of words. You know, there's trash talk, which is fine, but like, why do you have to get to that point when there should be a level of respect? Is my point. You know?
I also think it was the heat of the moment. Those two guys, I mentioned it. The competitive fervorness of these guys, it gets the best of you. And we mentioned it also in a previous subject, Michael Crabtree and Aqib Talib. This thing happens a lot of times, and this happened last year too. Remember? So they didn't necessarily get into a heated scuffle, but there was a moment where they kind of were like, "What are you doing?"
Back and forth.
Yeah, what are you doing there, man? Come on, you're better than that. So respect to both those guys, and also you forgot to mention Steven Adams down at the 5 position for Oklahoma City. Him with PG, Anthony, and
he's
Russell
not part
Westbrook.
of the big three, though.
I understand,
but yes, I agree. He's equally as important because he has that inside presence, and he has been balling this season too. Steven Adams, one of my personal favorites, because he shuts up, he goes to work, he does his thing in the press conferences. He has simple, quick answers, which I know as a journalist is not always great, but it's very fun to watch when he is clicking. Usually that entire team does.
The Boston Celtics winning streak is no more. It is snapped.
And we called it.
By the Miami Heat, and yes, we did. 104-98 was the final score. So Al Horford, just 7 points. Jason Tatum, 18 points. Kyrie with 23. But when you look at the Miami Heat, Goran Dragic, 27 points, 26 points for Dion Waiters. The Miami Heat are 8-9. Now, from the Celtics side of things, the winning streak was great. This is a team to be reckoned with. I think that it's easily it's Cavs, Celtics. If anybody thinks otherwise, call up to the show and then we'll have a discussion. But other than that, seeing Kyrie ball out and mesh with those guys, we talked about it last week. We've raved about Brad Stevens, Al Horford, Jason Tatum, Kyrie Irving, and every one of the Boston Celtics members.
Well, I think we can buy into the Celtics making these Conference Finals at this point.
Oh yeah.
The Cavs are probably going to do it because LeBron is LeBron, and that's what happens. But they are looking even more questionable now with Derrick Rose taking time away. Now, for those of you who are mad about it, you have to understand. It gets tiring.
Yeah.
It gets exhausting when you're getting injured over and over. And, of course, we all know Derrick Rose's reputation. You're getting injured over and over and over again because you're not, at that point, people forget, you're not training to get better. You're training to just get back to where you were, which is just it's disheartening when you can just not get there because your body won't allow you to, you know? So it makes sense. At the end of the day, we spoke about this, like he asked for, like he wanted a big contract. You know, it's like, well, buddy, you have to have one or the other. You can't, you take time away. That's fine. We get it. But like you said in our shows, one of our previous shows, you can't have the best of both worlds. You can't ask for that kind of contract and then want to take time. I get that you want to, but there's just two different worlds there.
And then another side note in the NBA, before we transition to baseball, there is an injury that happened, and it's very significant, and that is Mr. Paul Millsap, forward extraordinaire for the Denver Nuggets, undergoes wrist surgery, and according to reports, will miss, quote, several months.
Yeah.
So this is, that's rough. My surprise team of the year when Troy Tauscher joined the show and we made our predictions. I'm high on the Denver Nuggets. Not after this though.
Well,
and this is bad.
It's going to come down to this: Nikola Jokic is going to have to step up with never before.
And
like never before. This young guy is going to have to take. He was already the best player on the team last year, and then this year he got to be a little bit of a sidekick because Paul Millsap came around, but. Now he's going to have to, if they want to make the playoffs, he's going to have to step up in a big way for a long time.
Do you think, a question I pose to you is, when you look at Emmanuel Mudiay and that point guard position that he plays, do you think being the point guard of that team and being the young player that he is, and I know it's not all about the point guard position, Eliav, but it's arguably the most important position because it's the floor general. So when you look at that position and you look at Emmanuel Mudiay, do you think his style of basketball and the game that he plays and the leadership that he may have already at this point, do you still think that will carry Denver to the playoffs?
I don't think he's as significant as you think he is for this team. I really don't. I think he's off the bench. He hasn't shown that he's right, at least not right now, that guy that's going to lead this team in the point guard position. I think Gary Harris is that guy in the shooting guard position. The point guard position has got to be Jamal Murray. Those two guys in the backcourt are going to be those guys that are going to have to take over the guard position. But when it comes to the forwards, hey, Kenneth Faried, can you go back to kind of what you were a couple years ago? Because they need you now to step up and do that. Kenneth Faried has gone quiet for so long. He's going to have to step it up for this team.
Transitioning to some baseball here. It is the offseason, but there was some major news that came down a few days ago, and it pertains to the Atlanta Braves organization because former general manager John Coppolella was banned, not just suspended, not indefinitely, not for a few years, banned from life for working in professional baseball on last Tuesday. So what happened was it was rule violations that the club committed in signing international players. And according to reports, Coppolella was forced to resign after MLB investigators disclosed that the Braves had flaunted international signing rules from 2015 to 2017. And also, Rob Manfred, the commissioner of baseball, added that the league's investigation found that the Braves illegally moved bonus pool money from one player to another to boost another player's contract. So this is bad. We all know this is bad.
Johnny can't make no trades, no mo.
That was a great tweet that you put out. That's a good laugh right there. But I'm looking at the Braves. They lost 12 prospects out of this whole thing. And the Atlanta Braves were a top 10 farm system, and their future, their team was built on their future. If you're the Atlanta Braves, you still got Freddie Freeman. You still got Ender Inciarte, who you stole highway robbery from the Arizona Diamondbacks, as far as I'm concerned. You still got those two guys, but those two guys can't do everything. You need a pitching staff, and you're losing 12 great prospects as the Braves have.
The guy
Not
is
good.
drunk.
Not good at all.
Johnny, definitely.
The guy is drunk.
He is. So big loss.
Of course, you see how that sneaking around doesn't work, peeps. It doesn't. Cheaters do not prosper. They never prosper. Cheaters never prosper. I'm going to repeat it if you need me to, because that's just how it works. It's just not, you don't win. I mean, unless you're the Patriots. Just kidding.
Good one. That was good. That was funny.
No, but now let's move on to some soccer.
Oh, I think I know where this is going.
Leo Messi. Woo! Making, what was it? $667,000 a week.
Okay, so.
A week.
Talk about living large in the highest sense of fashion whatsoever.
The guy is going to make the buyout clause is set at $835 million.
What?
I mean, dude, people talk about how the American leagues and, with the NFL, NBA, MLB, they have like a lot of money. These European teams just have so much money. These players get so much. Oh my God. Listen, if anyone else deserves it, talk about Messi. And there was some talk of him, maybe thinking about other places, other teams inquiring, obviously, about one of the greatest of all time. But this is big that he's here and he's going to be at Barca until 2021.
And also, I don't want to sit here and say that somebody is worth $800 million because I don't believe anybody is in this world. But when you look at it in terms of soccer, there's no question that Leo Messi deserves it. And one last thing before Bonehead of the Week, we have a question or a comment as well from another loyal listener out in South Dakota, Austin Miller, with a great question. He says, congratulations on another great season, you guys. Good luck to Eliav. And then he says, tell me about your thoughts on Michael Bisping and his loss to Calvin Gastelum this past weekend and pending retirement.
Great question, Austin. I'll tell you this. Why are we so surprised? The dude came back for 3 weeks. We've preached that that's not a good idea. Mm-hmm. We get it that you are in shape because you train for that fight, but you have to prepare correctly. 3 weeks is not enough time to prepare correctly for a fight, a big fight that you want to get into, obviously. And then you saw the result. It was easy money.
I said this last week. This fight was all about trying to get rid of that stain loss to GSP at 217, but he's also talking about retirement. There's going to be UFC 221 in Perth, Australia, but then there's also a fight coming up in London, which he has openly said that's going to be his last fight. So Michael Bisping, I give him all the respect in the world for fighting on 3 weeks' notice. Was it the smartest idea? No. But I give him all the credit in the world. And if this is the end of his career, he can say he was a champion, and I give all the respect in the world to him.
Stop being a bonehead.
It's time for Weston's Bonehead of the Week. So, Bonehead of the Week. Now, normally we do this in the first segment, but we had to very carefully move this back a couple of segments because of the great Mike D'Antoni coming on the show to talk with us. Thank you again, Mike. And so let's go to AT&T Stadium. This happened on Thanksgiving between the Chargers and the Cowboys. So let's just say the kicker for the San Diego Chargers, his name is Nick Novak. He did not have a good game. Let's just put it bluntly and straightforward. So there were moments where he missed a couple field goals in the game, but the Bonehead of the Week this week. So he's on the sideline. This has been circulating around the internet all over the place. But Nick Novak, he's getting ready. You know how kickers get ready and use that net to block the kick from going into the stands or onto the field. So Nick Novak's just a couple of feet away from this net. And you know how kickers do it. It's easy to hit in there. It's easy money. He kicks it. He must have had it all. He must have placed his foot wrong or something. I don't know. But he goes out there and he kicks the ball and it goes to the right of the net and sails into the stands.
Oh.
I mean, and it was caught on camera. It was all over camera. It was all over the broadcast.
That's just embarrassing. You're a professional. Come on.
You're a professional kicker. You have one job to kick the ball. I mean, you also only have one workout you have to do at the gym, too, which is squats. I mean, come on.
Come on. So, come on. No. Don't do that. Kickers do. Come on. Kickers are high-level athletes
they
still.
Are,
come
and
on.
I don't want to insinuate they're bad athletes, but, I mean, come on. That close to the net. But in all seriousness, that was very, very funny. And Nick Novak is this week's Bonehead of the Week.
Eliav may be tough at times. What are you doing? Stop wasting time. But he does have a soft side, too. Come on. Get ready for Eliav's soft spot of the week. It's the last time I get to use my jazz voice.
Eliav Gabay, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello. Hi.
Yes.
It's me. All right, let's get into this. So, another very, very sweet moment, and I'm happy this is my last one because of how that this is a good way to go out. Kevin, it's a young man named Kevin. We don't know too much about him. He had some sort of disease or something like that, but he was in a wheelchair, and he had oxygen tubes. And he was on the sideline of the Jacksonville Jaguar game over the weekend, and Leonard Fournette, such a good guy, comes over, and you see the excitement in the guy's eyes. He comes over, he gives him his boots, and he's just like, "Are you serious?" That's what he said. "Are you serious?" And he's just like, "Yeah, man, yeah." And Leonard Fournette has a history of being very, very good with fans, which is great. But it was just, you see the joy, the sparkle in his eye of how happy he was to meet Leonard Fournette and get his boots and get him signed by him, and give him a good hug and stuff. So, yeah, it's a pretty simple soft spot of the week for me, but man, you gotta love those.
I love it when you can see an athlete like that have such an impact, and just the simple presence of giving someone their shoe.
Truly why we love sports, because it's such a minor thing for them, and it makes a person's week, year, life in that one moment. So, why not? Athletes continue. Do it. Keep doing it.
And correction on my Bonehead of the Week. The name was Drew Kaiser. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. It was Drew Kaiser who missed the net.
He's so excited and emotional. He shook today.
He shook. Unbelievable. You know what? Blake Bernard, former sports director, just texted me. He's like, "Don't cry on the air." And where are the tissues, Harley? Harley, where are the tissues at? We need to get them in here. The Weston DeWitt Show with Eliav Gabay here on Blaze Radio and streaming live on BlazeRadioOnline.com. 2 more segments left here in the series finale of the show. Up next, our final guest. He is a SportsCenter anchor, and he's well known around here, especially in these parts of Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. His name is Matt Barrie. He's up next with Eliav and I on Blaze Radio and BlazeRadioOnline.com.
Don't you worry, baby, don't worry, 'cause I'm right here at home. 'Cause I'm a picker, I'm a grinner, I'm a lover, and I'm a sinner.
Now joining us, he is an anchor on ESPN's AM SportsCenter. He's a Walter Cronkite alum, class of 01. We don't want to date him too much, but it is the man, the myth, Matt Barrie. Matt Barrie, how you doing, man? How are you?
Gentlemen, how are you? Good to be joining you today.
Thank you.
Of course, and thank you for joining us. It's really a pleasure, and we know you visited not too long ago, and that was really fun. But let's get into it. When you look at how far the Cronkite School has come since you left, how does that speak to, we joke around, 3-time innovation champions back to back ASU, but how does it truly speak to the innovation of Arizona State?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to have a school with the way that you guys have there in downtown Phoenix if there wasn't going to be a commitment to what had gone on in the past. You can't build the facilities that you guys have now and all of the technology that exists out there if there wasn't a commitment to where the school was headed and what had taken place in the past. So it was really fun for me to be a part of. It was really great for me to see that a place that I attended back in the late 90s and early 2000s has grown into the renowned facility and school that it is today.
Hey, Matt, Weston DeWitt here. So when was the moment, or was there a particular person at ASU that gave you a source of motivation that made you really think like, hey, I can really be in this business and I can thrive in it?
Well, that inspiration came from my mentor, Aqib Talib, who I interned with at Channel 3 there in Phoenix. And it's my junior year, kind of really starting to take the school and what you want to do for a career seriously. And having a mentor like Gil, who kind of took me under his wing when I was an intern there, logging games and tape and just doing intern work. He took such an interest in me and took such an interest in what I wanted to do, and I still talk to him to this day once a week. But he was able to kind of give me a roadmap and a path of what and what not to do in this business. And I don't think without him or his guidance, I would be where I am today.
Now, when you take what you learned from him and then you took it to the real world, the real broadcasting world, throughout your broadcasting career, what are some of the main lessons you've learned only through experience in this business?
Little things. When you go, my first couple of jobs, you learn to check, double check, triple check to make sure you have enough batteries for the camera you're going to use to shoot. And you're going to triple check to make sure that they're stored. You're going to make sure that you have enough space. You're going to make sure that all your equipment works. Just little things like that I had to do starting out when I was shooting my own stuff, editing my own things. I was learning how to get along in a locker room with 10, 15, 20 other media members in terms of finding positions to get interviewed and all of the rules that go on covering a pro sports team and a collegiate team. And it's one thing to do at school for a grade, but then when you have to get out there and do it for a paycheck, it's a completely different world. And you're doing it for viewers. You're doing it for the viewers of your market, so the product has to look like the television product. But look, when I was coming up, I wasn't great. I wasn't really particularly that good, and I was learning like everybody else does. But as long as you have pride in your work, that's the most important part.
So you're at the top now. You're doing the AM Sports Center, as Eliav did mentioned in his introduction. So exactly how much joy do you get knowing that you're getting to wake up every day and do what you love?
Well, I don't get much joy when the alarm goes off at 3:30 in the morning. But once I get to work, I'm really excited to go to work tomorrow morning. There's a huge slate of NBA games tonight. I think the busiest night we've had this season, but then we get to do highlights of the NBA, highlights of college basketball, and then set the table tomorrow morning for 3 really, really big NFL games that'll take place tomorrow, then set the table for the final regular season of the college football weekend. And so when you get over the fact that you're waking up early and you get to work and kind of look at the rundown and see what's in there, you understand that, look, people are going to be watching tomorrow. Everyone's waking up, they're at home, got the day off, and we get to bring that to them. And this time of year, especially when you have the NFL, you have college football, college basketball, the NHL, the NBA.
Yeah.
October, November are two of the greatest sports months of the year.
Definitely. And when you think of how far you've come and how much more you have to experience as an anchor, what do you want your legacy to be?
I don't much look at that kind of thing because I don't believe in and looking at what you want to leave behind or what you want your name to be. Because ultimately, if you focus on things too far ahead, you're going to forget on what you're doing right now. So I look at it like that. I look at each show as an individual entity. I look at each week as its own individual thing, and then at the end of the day, if I'm lucky enough to do this job for another 20 years and then retire, then that stuff will take care of itself. But I try not to focus on anything beyond right here, right now. That's really the only thing I can control.
So let's transition away from talking about your career in sports. So let's just have a little fun with this next question. So your schedule, you mentioned it at 3 a.m. that alarm goes off. Now I know what that's like. I'm an intern, and my alarm goes off at 4 on some days. So your schedule's just absolute madness sometimes. So what is the weirdest hobby that people might not know about you?
When you do in your free time.
When the weather's nice, I golf a lot. It's the one thing that the morning show schedule does fit. It's a great golf schedule because you're out of work most days before noon, so you can be at the golf course and have fun doing that. But in terms of hobby, I'm a big news nerd. I love news. I love news programs and news magazines. I love politics. And so people think just because you work in sports that you eat, sleep, and drink it. But, candidly, when there's a breaking news event going on, I'll watch more of that time, start to finish, just because I'm intrigued by news and that world of media.
And when you see, whatever you watch on the news, do you use that as material for potentially, depending on what happened, in your sportscasting?
No, I just think it's good to have a world view of what's going on. I don't necessarily think it's healthy just to focus on sports, because at the end of the day, it's not life or death. Sports has never been life or death. It's an entertainment outlet for most people with a final score. And so for me, it's always been important to have a bigger view of what's going on around me, because I think a lot of times people can lose sight of what sports really are. We deal with fans all the time who think winning and losing is the most important thing. Yes, the team is big, but ultimately you're going to wake up the next day and things are going to go on, and that necessarily doesn't happen all the time. So I use it more because I'm interested in it, but I think that it's important for anybody to have a well-rounded scope of what's going on around them in any facet of life.
All right, one last question. Another fun one for you here. What's your go-to playlist? You wake up early, you have to get pumped up for that morning Sports Center. So what's your go-to playlist before you get on camera?
Yeah, usually when I'm driving into work, just because it's so early and I want to wake up, I've got Sirius XM on, and I usually turn it on to Sirius XM. I love the 90s and early 2000s hip-hop.
Oh, there you go.
I'm usually listen to Sirius XM fly on the way in because it's early and I want to get
That's a good choice.
Energized as quickly as possible.
You gotta love it. Some of that R&B, maybe some of the hip hop.
That is
good
for me as well.
R&B, more the Tupac and the Big E and all.
Oh, okay.
The Jay-Z. That's what I came up with when I was there. That's the way I like to go.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Matt Barrie. Thank you for being on. Great anchor, better person, ladies and gents. When
Amen.
he came over to the Cronkite School, anyone want to talk to him, they would get a chat and get some advice. So we really appreciated that. Stick around for the next segment. We'll be taking calls and a whole lot more. Matt, thank you so much for joining us.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right, stay tuned. You're listening to the Weston DeWitt Show with Eliav Gabay on Blaze Radio.
We've never had it so good for so long, Eliav. Welcome back to the final segment of the series finale of the Weston DeWitt Show with Eliav Gabay here on Blaze Radio and streaming live on BlazeRadioOnline.com. All right, thank you so much to Mike D'Antoni for coming on the show today, for Matt Barrie coming on the show today, and now the moment has come. The final segment here of the Weston DeWitt Show with Eliav Gabay. So, Eliav, let's get it started with Harley's Hot Topics and social media.
Everything trending on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and more. Get ready for Harley's Hot Topics and social media. All right, we're going to try to keep the mood light here before we get real serious last segment. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but the Georgia Dome was imploded this week.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yes. And the Weather Channel had this shot set up, this live shot, and the bus, this MARTA bus came in front of it. So the Atlanta Falcons Twitter had some fun with that. And there was a touchdown scored in the Seattle Seahawks Atlanta Falcons game, and they put the bus sliding in front of the touchdown, so you couldn't see the touchdown. And the caption was really MARTA. It was just really funny stuff. And then Kyrie Irving, of course, that game he had against the Mavericks where he just literally put the team on his back. It was unreal. Danny Ainge, of course, Celtics legend, tweeted, "Maybe the world is flat," at Kyrie Irving, hashtag Celtic World.
That's crazy.
And then Gordon Hayward tweeted, he said, "Wow, Kyrie Irving is something special. These close games are stressing me out, though. On to the next." We mentioned the backup kicker for the Chargers was their punter. And Pat McAfee, kicking legend, punting legend, said, "Hey, Chargers, I need a few weeks to get some nature out of my system, but ... sup." Of course, McAfee retired last year. He's working for Barstool now.
Yeah.
And then did you see the Donald Trump Time Magazine thing where Trump announced that he was going to be he was called to be Time Person.
Right.
Yes.
Person of the Year. Well, Noah Syndergaard,
Thor.
Yeah, he tweeted out, "Sports Illustrated called me and said I was probably going to be Sportsman of the Year, but I was going to take a long photo shoot and interview. I'm not proud of my recent perm and have an interpretive dance class at the interview time, so I turned it down. No thanks, SI." And then we get kind of serious here. All of Todd Graham's former players, current players, reaching out on Twitter. Draylen Strong said it wasn't just about football for Coach Graham. He turned boys to men on and off the field. Built character Damari Richard tweeted out as news broke, "Wow, I'm sick." Karan Crum said, "That's crazy." John Humphrey tweeted out the emoji with the hand over the mouth like he was shocked. And then John Humphrey later said, "Thank you, Coach." And Demario Richard posted a picture of the two of them, posted two pictures and said, "What's understood don't gotta be said. Grateful for every opportunity you've given me. Thank you."
Harley, real quick, how did you feel about Todd Graham getting fired?
I'm kind of, it's just bad timing, man. Like, we didn't even get time, they didn't even get time to enjoy the Territorial Cup win, you know? It felt like they lost that night.
Yeah, exactly. That was Harley's Hot Topics and social media, ladies and gentlemen. Great job, Harley. Good stuff, buddy. Okay, so now it is 11:16 a.m. here, and we have about approximately 13 minutes or so to kind of just digest and sit here, and we don't have a script plan, ladies and gentlemen. We have no idea. We don't know exactly what's going to be said. We have no clue. We're just going to sit here and let's just talk, Eliav, about what this journey has been like here on the Weston DeWitt Show with Eliav Gabay. So let's start with, let's say, the best moment from the show. What was the best moment of the show for you?
Well, I don't know about you. I had to write some stuff down because there was so much that there was to remember and to make sure that I did it justice with everything. So best moments, man. Talk about all our rants, from your 49ers rant.
That was funny.
Sula.
Really? The guy with the ugly mustache.
Yeah, my Embiid rant was just like, why are you dancing? My Aaron Donald rant.
You're jumping up, and ladies and gentlemen, you didn't see this because we didn't have the cameras on that day. He was jumping up and down. You need to sign Aaron Donald. What are you doing?
Yeah, our debates. I mean, the Mad Bum disagreement. Even with our guest Chaz and I going at it about the finals.
That was heated.
NBA finals. Yeah, that was fun. Our Goodell Bettman conversation. Who's the worst? And my favorite, the Woodley Wonder Boy debate.
Yes.
We've never yelled at each other like that before. That was crazy.
And that was great. I loved it.
This guy is drunk.
The moment when Kevin Harlan was announcing when the fan ran onto the field, that was the ending to our IBS submission in which we were nominated for an IBS award. So what a way to end that submission tape.
And a great transition to my last point, IBS awards, man. Like that, going over there, experiencing New York with you and our fans. families and going, just flying there, the little things, taking the transit, it's just the little things that even though we didn't win, just the experience of being there and being honored that way was really great.
And I echo every one of your sentiments, but real quick, that flight over there to New York, you were wearing sweatpants and a long sleeve shirt. I was wearing a suit.
That's right. That's the difference.
A 5-hour flight, ladies and gentlemen.
Man, okay, best interviews. I mean, it's hard to choose. We have so many of the ones that I really love. But here, I'm going to list off every friend interview and every celeb interview we've ever had. All right?
Okay.
We did some hunting for this last night. All right. Friend interviews. Let's go there. Matt Lehman, Chaz Frazier, Caleb Harden twice.
And the college decision. That was amazing.
That was awesome. Dominic Cotroneo, Chancellor Johnson twice, Matt Lively, Braden Bell twice, Sky Merida, Ethan Schmidt, Troy Dasher. Thank you guys, each and every one of you, for coming here, being prepared, answering our questions all the way through, being fantastic. And, of course, one missing from here is Chris Cadeau. And just so fantastic for you to do that. Blake Bernard also, just you guys being here and just giving us your all, not, it's a radio show, college radio, whatever. You gave us our all. You treated it like we treat it, and that meant a ton.
And I think that before you get to the celebrity interviews, I also I echo those sentiments as well, but I also like just to see how our friends, everybody who goes to this school, and to see them come in here and be they're advertising on their Snapchats, hey, I'm going to be on the show. Make sure you guys tune in. They had notes prepared. They came in here. They knew this was serious business. And that right there, I think to me, that's heartwarming, because that shows that people here at this school and in this industry, the future of this business, Eliav, is so bright, because we have people like us, like Harley, like our friends, like everybody here at the Cronkite School of Journalism. It's so refreshing and heartwarming.
Celeb interviews now, starting off from top to bottom. Ryan Ruocco, Mike Trudell, Jovan Buha, Earl Watson, John Gabmadoro, Danny Lee, Tyson Nash, Bruce Buffer, Craig Morgan, Jody Jackson, Tom Leander, Mike Goldberg, Mike Goldberg in studio, Mike Goldberg in studio, John Anik, Greg Moore, Bertrand Barrie, Shane Doan, Mike D'Antoni, and Matt Barrie finishing it off here on this show. I mean, thank you to each one of them. We're just a couple of kids sometimes in their eyes, and you know what, and they still do it, and again, also treat it with respect, treat it professionally. Great answers, great interviews, each one of them. So many thanks for all of them, man. Okay, to break down a couple of my favorites, I mean, Mac D'Antoni, Shane Doan, fantastic, of course. Anik was fantastic. Buffer inviting us to go out for beers after that.
Who does that? Yeah. Random Joe Schmoes, and he just says, hey, the beers are on me. Earl
Watson for just the groundbreaking level of that, where we finally got someone really high level, big time. Of course, Goldberg coming in was amazing. Trudell and Ruocco, our first two interviews, and so much fun.
And remember the Trudell interview. Trudell is that's your position. That is Eliav's position in a nutshell, what Mike Trudell does. So for Mike Trudell to come on the show, the very second interview that we ever did, and for Mike Trudell to come on here and say, I crushed Kobe Bryant in ping pong, it was just right there is beautiful.
The story about that, the story about Michael Jordan when he just went up to, just so many good ones. But each interview, we really, I honestly feel like we really learned something from each one, and that is just so fun for all of us.
We also grew as talk show hosts.
So final thoughts, go ahead. I have quite a bit here.
Okay.
You can go ahead.
Okay, so let me say this. Just I remember when Blaze Radio gave me the Weston DeWitt Show, and I just remember being incredibly thankful for the opportunity. But also on the side note, ladies and gentlemen, for those who do not know, when I got the show, I was panicking in a sense because I did not know how to run the board. I did not know what to do, okay? Let's just put it out there. I had no idea how to control the board.
And when I guessed it, you can definitely see he was shaking, bringing up the levels.
And when I did Going Deep, and we were talking about Middle Tennessee State beating Michigan State. So I have a little surprise for Eliav here in the final final thing. And I do have tissues here if you want one. But I'm just...
I really don't know what's about to happen.
So it's... I dug way back into the message files, okay? Way back. Okay. And I found the moment when I asked you to be the producer of the show.
Oh my God. Okay, all right.
Here's what I said. This was on July 19th, 2016, and specifically at 5:22 p.m. And I remember this. I can tell you this. I parked into a Starbucks because I had to just get it off my. I was like, I need to know.
For anyone who doesn't know, Weston, his memory is ridiculous. Go ahead.
People have told me I'd be a great witness in a crime scene or a great lawyer to go on into a trial.
Hopefully, you don't have to be a witness in a crime scene.
Hopefully. But okay, so here's the message. I said, hey, bro, hope you are enjoying your summer. But hey, I'm looking for a producer for my show this upcoming semester. Someone who knows the board well, who can take the calls, and who can jump in and chime in on the conversation. Would you be interested? I think it would be awesome. The show is 1 to 2 on Mondays, which is where we started. And now we have an hour and a half. Thank you, Bridget Dowd. If you have a class during that time, I understand. Think about it and get back to me. Thanks, bro. And within an hour and a half, I am there, my friend. Sign me up. And then it goes on. I ain't finished. There's more. And then the next day, I said, I greatly appreciate it, bud. I think we are going to crush this. I will reach back out in a week or two with the outline of the show, the music options, the intro, and everything that I'm thinking for the show. I cannot wait to get started. Here's my phone number. I'm not going to say my phone number. Send me a text with your number so I can have it if I need to contact you. Thank you, brother. No problem, man. Can't wait. Yep. Excellent. I appreciate all of this, bro. I
was
said
a
back
man
to
of
you.
simple words.
You were very simple. I was just so in depth. And then I said it'll save me from having to worry about the board stuff. Yeah. LOL. And then you were like, this is it. This is good. We're a team now, man. It's all good.
Oh man, that is good. That is poetic.
Okay, so that right there was
it's a great way to end it.
Yes, but it's just a tremendous overall message right there, man. And just before we announce who will be replacing you on the show, and before you give your final thoughts, just let me say straight up, man, you are incredible in every sense of the word. Okay, and I just want you to know that when you came on the show and you've just enlightened me about how to be a better sports journalist and a better talk show host, I think that it's just made me a better person, okay? And I know that, you're going 400 miles back to Los Angeles or however far away it is from here. You're going to Los Angeles and there will be a new person taking over the show. I've said this on numerous occasions. I hope that one day we will get to host a show together in the future. And I think that is a realistic possibility in my opinion. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a brother to me and being there for me when times have been hard. And every moment that I've had with you, you've gotten the real authentic me, Eliav Gabay. You've gotten me. And you've brought the best out in me. And go to Los Angeles now and go show Los Angeles, California, what Eliav Gabay is all about. That's my final thought.
Man, I appreciate that, man. I want to say, first of all, before I get to you, man, I'm going to say thank you to all the supporters, from all the callers, friends, family, to the random listener in Taylor Mall right now. We truly could not have done all of this without you. And knowing that we have all of you behind us, praising us, critiquing us, everything in between, you really mean the world to us. This is the way I see this. Two guys, a tall Christian man from rural Rapid City, South Dakota, and then a short Jewish dude from the big city, Los Angeles, California, somehow just meshed perfectly. The chemistry, our tempers, the flow, it all worked. When this started, we were so raw, just so much energy, so loud.
Particularly me.
Yeah, no, we were just. It was so much happening, but I really felt, like you said, I really felt our growth in this past year and a half as broadcasters, as producers, as hosts, as men in general. But Weston, man, and that those messages were pretty amazing because I didn't recall that at all, and it was so simple, so quick. But I can't thank you enough for asking me to produce all that time ago. You've been so much more than just a broadcasting partner. You've been a real brother to me, from, you know, the hardcore debates, long editing days, pump-up sessions, you know, every single interview and show, to our deep conversations, bike rides, Mama DeWitt's pizzas.
Amen.
Grilling and jacuzzi days, so much more. This has been truly one of the best experiences of my life. And I know we'll reconnect somewhere down the line somehow. Yeah. And I'm so excited. But we're not done yet.
Oh, yes,
we still have one thing left to do.
There is one thing to do.
That is win the IBS Awards. Go back, first of all, be nominated again. Go to the IBS Awards, win, and be the best sports talk show in the nation. One thing left, and that's it. And we're not done yet.
No.
We're not done yet until that is finished.
Let's go get it, man.
This has all been amazing, a beautiful experience. Thank you to everyone, but that is one thing we have left to do, and we will get it done for you, for us, for Blaze. It's gonna happen, and we're gonna make it happen.
Amen. Ditto, man. I love you to death, and what an unbelievable ending here to the show, and it just, what an unbelievable wild ride this has been. So without further ado, the last thing we're going to do here on the Weston DeWitt Show with Eliav Gabay, we have an announcement to make. It's because Eliav is going to Los Angeles. I need someone to do the show with. I can't do it solo. I mean, maybe I'm entertaining enough to do it by myself, but I don't think so. So someone's got to fill and step in and do it. So who is that person, ladies and gentlemen? His name is Harley Yearout.
Hey.
Welcome. Next semester.
No one saw this coming. I know.
A lot of people did. So next semester, it will be the Weston DeWitt Show with Harley Yearout. What? Did we just become best friends, Harley?
Yup.
Do you want to go do a radio show together?
Yup.
Woo!
All right.
Good stuff.
So, Harley, I got to say this to you. When we were thinking of who to have for our social media king, the first person that came to mind was you. Like right off the bat,
too.
I was like, social media, Harley, boom. Thank God you accepted, because you've taken that position and gave it a whole new life. You've expanded it to beyond anything I could have hoped for, and you've been the biggest baller that we could have ever wished for. Shout out LeVar. Thank you for joining the team, and thank you for being just as invested in this as us, and into the product we all love, man. You deserve this, no doubt, and I'm so happy that this is in good hands, bro.
No, thank you guys. It was I remember when you guys brought me on the show the first time to talk about the Cowboys and Dak and Romo and all that good stuff. And then just a semester later, I never thought that I would be actually on the show working with you guys. And I remember when you guys told me that you guys wanted me to come on after Eliav left, and I was just so honored. I mean, this is like you guys' baby, and so to be a part of it in any capacity was awesome. I'm really excited, and thank you guys. We're gonna miss you, Eliav. That's for sure.
Yeah, and you know we have fun, we joke around all the time, but in all seriousness, Eliav, we will miss you. But I promise you, I personally promise you, we will hold it down for you, and I will try not to get on him about the Cowboys too much. Okay,
let's keep it objective.
Yes, objective, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's keep it rolling, man. But for the last time, this is the song we've gone out to for so long.
Can we please not play it? Can we please extend it, please? But let me.
Thank you so much, everyone, and explosive.
Kick it, Eliav. This has been the Weston DeWitt Show with Eliav Gabay for a year and a half, ladies and gentlemen. Eliav is off to Los Angeles for some great endeavors headed his way. Harley Yearout, social media king, soon to be co-host in January. We'll see you in January. Seth Askelson, thank you for sports updates along with Devin Henry. To my brother, Eliav Gabay, love you to death. Someday soon, down the line, there will be another Weston DeWitt Show with Eliav Gabay. See ya.
Real dog still kicking with me. All my down. Still tricking with me. All the true gangsters know they ain't never loved.